Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Just one day after Karmelo Anthony was found guilty of murdering Austin Metcalf at a high school track and field event in Frisco, Texas, his legal team filed an appeal. This after the jury rejected his defense claim. Now, you have a situation where everybody is saying, yo, this trial is fair, or they're saying the trial was rigged. There are a number of people who believe that it's rigged. I think it's more people that believe the trial was rigged than who believe that Karmelo got a fair trial. In any event, this thing has to work its way through the courts. Now, the biggest thing is the evidence or lack thereof that was presented. There are a number of legal experts who says that Karmelo didn't get a proper defense. In other words, ineffective counsel. Ineffective counsel. And I gotta admit, fam, it looks like ineffective counsel to me. The other big thing is the jury makeup. A racially charged case where there's not one black person on the jury when a black person is the defendant. That might not be a problem in some other country, but in America, the big bad racist country that we know it to be. I know some of making some of y'all mad right now, huh? Because y'all don't like that truth, huh? Y'all like things to be like y'all want it to be. Y'all don't care about the truth. Y'all don't care about justice. Y'all just want to see the black man go down. You want to see the brother go down. Okay, let me ask y'all this, fam. For all of these people that are mad at Karmelo Anthony, that really hate Karmelo Anthony, that I heard some people saying he should get the death penalty. Do y'all really think 35 years is fair? Let's say he was guilty. Let's say he was guilty. Let's say he is guilty. Let's say the jury found him guilty. Ain't no doubt about it. He did it, okay? And he was found guilty. And let's say he got a sentence. Y'all think 35 years, considering the circumstances on how the thing went down, it's like it wasn't a premeditated killing. It wasn't like something he planned to do. This is something that happened in the heat of the moment. You got dudes grown men who are a lot more mentally advanced, who might kill their woman in the heat of the moment. They call it a crime of passion, and they get 10 years in prison. Sometimes they get 5 years on probation. I'm not saying that somebody deserves to get probation for killing somebody if they're really guilty. But come on, fam. 35 years, if you consider the facts, what are the facts? If you consider the fact that he didn't start it, he was minding his own business. You got a guy who accosts him, rush up on him, get in his face, tell him to move, pushes him. Okay? And then that push triggered the events that came after that. If there's no push, perhaps they just got through competing today or yesterday at another track meet. Everybody going about their business. Everybody continue to live their life. So y'all don't want to consider none of that? The fact that it wasn't premeditated? Y'all don't want to consider none of that, huh? Y'all don't want to consider the fact that the other kid had a reputation for being a bully? And that Karmelo Anthony had a reputation for being a good guy? Even saved a 6-year-old, 9-year-old's life who was drowning? Y'all don't want to consider none of that? Just gonna discard him like that? 35 years for a 19-year-old who ain't never been in trouble? a good guy, people like. If the sentencing range was 5 to 99 years, well, that's what it was. The sentencing range was from 5 to 99. The 5 to 99 is supposed to be all those years in between, where it starts, and all those years in between, and where it ends. It's those years in between are supposed to be to give the judge flexibility when considering what type of character this person or the defendant has. What type of history does the defendant has? What's his behavior pattern? Does he have a criminal record? Has he done something like this before? All of these things are supposed to, decide the range of punishment. Did he commit the crime with malice? Was it premeditated? All of these things are supposed to be considered. It's like the judge considered none of that stuff. It was like 35 years. Come on, fam. I'm going to tell you something. I know some of y'all ain't going to believe this, but if it was the other way around and the events were exactly the same, I would think 35 years would be a bit too much. I would think 35 years would be too much. Really, I'm gonna tell you like this, fam, and I know y'all really ain't gonna like this. If it's a situation where somebody get into a fight, let's say it's not a planned fight, it's not like I'm gonna go over here and do this, do that. Now, if somebody just get into a heated confrontation, somebody end up losing their life. In that regard, I don't think a person should do more than 10 years. Because I think 10 years is long enough for anybody to know that they don't want to go to prison again. I think 10 years is long enough for anybody to understand the error of their ways. I mean, think about yourself. If you was penalized for anything in life, wouldn't 10 years be enough for you to get past what you did, like understand the gravity of what you did and come to terms that, hey man, I'm remorseful for it. I've changed my ways. I'm educating myself. I'm trying to be a better person. After 10 years, if you don't got it after 10 years, you ain't gonna never get it. If you're not a better person after 10 years, you're not gonna ever be a better person. Now, keep in mind, I'm saying this for heat of the moment. Heat of the moment. Wasn't planned, it's going down, something happened, got into a fight, somebody got killed, somebody lost their life. I think after 10 years, and I mean for anybody, I think after 10 years, 10 years is really a long enough sentence. Now, you start talking about extenuating circumstances, like somebody killed a house full of people. You go into a store, you air it out, pull out a gun, start killing people at a festival. You blow up a church, you start getting into stuff like that, then I don't think it's no comeback for that. You start doing stuff to these babies. I don't think you can come back from that. I don't see those type of things being something that you can rehabilitate. But this type of situation, I can guarantee you, as soon as it happened, not as soon as the weight of what happened hit him, that hit Karmelo, at that point he understood, he wished he could have done things differently. And that's why I say, even with myself, I try to avoid conflict, because I don't know exactly what I'll do in a situation. I know what I should do and what I would like to do. But that's why they have that latitude for sentencing, because you have to consider the circumstances. You got to consider circumstances, like what was going through this person's mind? What was happening with this person? What was the threat level? What was, Has this person been in trouble before with the law? What kind of behavior patterns did this person have before the event took place, before the incident took place? Like, you have to consider a lot of things. So, yeah, I do agree with Attorney Dennis Sperling when he said that we do have to get control of our emotions, before we, do something that can get us in a jam like this. But that goes both ways. It goes both ways because Austin is no longer here because of his actions, because of his emotions, right? So you got one kid who let his emotions get away from him and stabbed a kid, and then you got another kid who let his emotions get away from him and put himself in that situation to get stabbed, where he decided to put his hands on somebody. Again, fam, like, I'm not a heartless person, you know what I'm saying? I believe that, it's a kid, and most of the times kids get past bullying, most of the time kids outgrow being a bully, most of the times kids outgrow being a bully. You get older, you realize, hey, this ain't it. But then you have sometimes, high school bullies become corporate bullies, corporate bullies become political bullies. You dig what I'm saying? And then so on and on. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I do believe that there is an opening here for Karmelo Anthony to come home. When you look at the jury makeup, racially charged case, no blacks at all. When you look at the inadequate defense, which was pretty much non-existent, I think there's a good chance that he'll come home. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.